Well, how's everyone doing? It feels so good to be in person again. We've liberated ourselves on the other side of COVID-19, and it has to be a really great feeling. Well, welcome to Columbus State and this amazing facility. Ian, thank you so much for you and your team at Columbus State to be here. I'm Zach Klein, the Columbus City Attorney, announcing a terrific program in partnership with the Franklin County Commissioners, in partnership with Columbus State Community College, called Project Taillight. The purpose of this program is to serve under-income, low-income individuals who may have equipment violations, broken taillight, broken headlight, for example, that are driving around our community with families in their cars, little kids, that could be a safety hazard to pedestrians and to other vehicles. And the only barrier that stops them from getting pulled over, perhaps getting a ticket, is the lack of resources that they have to make that repair. And that's where Project Taillight comes in. Project Taillight, in this partnership with Columbus State and Franklin County Community College, allows our low-income neighbors and friends to get their car fixed, their taillight fixed, their headlight fixed, free of charge if they're at or below 200% of poverty, to increase community safety, to increase safety on the road, to limit a police interaction that is really unnecessary if they had the resources necessary in order to get that taillight fixed. So this is a win-win for our community, our fellow residents in this pilot program that's going to serve approximately 150 to 200 people. It's a $50,000 investment in conjunction with the City of Columbus, Franklin County, and Department of Justice grant, in an innovative way to think outside the box to improve community safety and to limit police interactions, which, by the way, help police. It allows them to improve their own personal safety so that they're not stopped on the side of a road where they could get injured themselves, but also increases community safety, and then police are able to do further emphasis on violent crime, which is running rampant in our neighborhoods with felonious assaults and homicides that unfortunately we know all too much about. So at this time, I want to bring up Ian Andrews, who is running the show here, to talk about how this is important for all the students here at Columbus State. So Mr. Andrews, Professor.
Thank you, Attorney Klein, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out today to see what we got going on with Project Taillight. My name is Ian Andrews. I'm an assistant professor in automotive technology here, and I'm also serving as the principal investigator on Project Taillight as well. I haven't been here a long time at the college. I only started full-time in 2014, but in my short tenure, I've kind of learned two things about the college that I think definitely apply to this project. One being the college, really from all levels, encourages involvement of the faculty and staff within the local community to find meaningful work. And I think Project Taillight is one modest example of that type of work that you see really in all corners and areas of this college. So I wouldn't really be doing the college justice if I didn't call that out and give all of my colleagues credit for what they're also doing here. And the second piece is that Columbus State as an institution actually kind of operates a little bit like a Swiss Army knife of sorts. We're a really small package here, and we have a lot of tools at our disposal to get things done and really launch unique initiatives like this. And when the city attorney's office and Bridget DeCrane came to us to kind of pitch this idea, this was back in autumn of 2020, and we were really in the depth of the pandemic. And I got to say that the easy answer would have just been, no, we can't accommodate this program. But really, at the end of the day, that's not who we are at Columbus State. That's not really our identity. And just like a Swiss Army knife, we shifted, we molded, we changed a little bit to try to fit this in and get the project done. From the student perspective and my perspective, the student work really isn't that difficult of a task, I got to say. Anybody who's made it through our first or entry-level classes is equipped with the skill set necessary to do this. With a few exceptions, some cars will come in and they'll be bent and broken and distorted and stuff like that, and we'll have to be creative to get them fixed. But really where the students have benefited and where they've grown from this, I think, is that interaction with the participants from the community. They don't really get that when they come through the program. We work on controlled faults and lab cars and stuff like that, so there's not really one customer who's continuously critiquing their work and providing them with that feedback. And if you were to line up 10 of our auto students and say, what makes you most uncomfortable as you're here taking classes at the college? it's probably communication courses or public speaking for 9 out of 10 of them. So as a professor, I look at that and say, oh, I know exactly what I'm going to have you do when you show up tomorrow. I'm going to make you a little bit uncomfortable so that we can grow together. And part of what we do at the end of when a participant comes through, they have to go in and provide a brief synopsis to that participant, say, here's what we did to your car, here's why we did that. And I've definitely seen marked improvement all the way through the program for those students that were able to participate. They've gotten way better at doing that. And something kind of on my end that was a little short-sighted that I've learned as we've launched these past couple pilots. I thought that when I initially heard about this, it was going to be hard to find student participants from the labor perspective, because most of our students are taking classes full-time, most of our students are working full-time, and that free time really that's a premium, right? And they don't have a lot of it. So I pitched this to my first class in autumn of 2020. There was about 8 students there. And before I even got to talk about the stipend or compensation on their end, all of them volunteered their time. And I reflected on that a little bit and said, you know, this kind of went not how I thought it would go. Why is that? And I realized that a lot of our students here at the college are coming out of the very community that Project Taillight is targeting for support. And when they had the opportunity to say, we're going to make things a little bit better for our own neighbors, they jumped. They jumped at the opportunity. So that's been really, really refreshing. And I think that's important because if we can just keep that energy alive and we can keep that going within our student body at Columbus State and the program, the rest of the administration, there's a good potential that we can grow this thing, make it bigger, better, faster, stronger, expand it so that we can impact more residents of the city ultimately. So with that, I think I'll turn it back over to Attorney Klein for closing comments.
No, great remarks, Ian. And I think it's the importance. I know very little about cars, and so when I take my car to the dealership, I said it's making a noise, you know, and so like be able to have that interaction with a potential customer when these kids graduate, these young adults graduate, and they go work at the dealerships, to have the soft skills, the social skills. It really is that extra layer, not only on the educational side, but the real world practicum. The practical experience that you get when you actually go into a dealership to someone who knows nothing about cars, to be able to explain, like, I know something's wrong, but I can't really describe it. But that's the type of interaction that these students are having with members of the public. The feedback and the surveys that we've seen thus far, there's a constant theme of great customer service, which I think is a testament to you and your team here at Columbus State. You made my family feel safer. I'm driving around with my kids in the car with an equipment violation. And some folks say, I don't want to get pulled over by the police, or I feel unsafe driving my car, but I can't afford to fix it. We have one participant who's supposed to be here, and if he does, we'll certainly offer him up for one-on-ones, that actually got pulled over by a police officer for an equipment violation. He showed the officer the text message that he had an appointment to come to this facility, and the officer said, great, let him go so he get his car fixed. Like, that's great policing. That's a great job by that police officer in really minimizing the interaction, knowing the person had a plan to get this fixed. And so if you all recall last summer, part of the 8 reforms that I announced in June of 2020, one of them had to do with really looking and thinking creatively about limiting police interactions for equipment violations, and for pedestrian violations, for bicycle violations. So this really falls at the heart of being innovative in thinking of ways that we can limit those interactions, because I've certainly sat in barbershops, I've sat in churches, I've been in beauty salons, and I have heard primarily from African American men, black men, about how they feel, their perception, they feel that they have been unnecessarily pulled over for equipment violations, and that they've been unnecessarily targeted. Whether, we have seen that reported on a national level, that African American men, black men do get pulled over more. Poverty, separately, poverty also has a role to play, because if you don't have the resources to fix a violation, then you are left driving around with that broken taillight or headlight. So this innovative program gets us right in the middle of that, to give people the opportunity to be safe, to limit police interactions, improve those interactions with policing, to improve safety for officers and for the community. So it truly is a win-win opportunity for the entire community to come together to make us safer and to improve policing and to give educational opportunities to kids here and young adults here at Columbus State. So at this time, I think I'll pause and we'll go ahead and take some questions here, or we can do some one-on-ones. Meredith, what do you think we should do? Break them up one-on-ones? Okay, we'll do one-on-ones. All right, thank you, everybody.